Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm Richard Marcella. I'm the Executive Director at Community Music Schools of Toronto, where for the past 26 years we've provided free music lessons to children and youth from Regent Park, Jane Finch, and other neighborhoods across Toronto. I'm delighted to be joined today by my colleagues Kurt Thumlert and Olfield WIlliams. Kurt is a professor at York University, and Olfield is an esteemed faculty member at Community Music Schools of Toronto. As many of you will recall, last year at the conference I gave a workshop on how to play your world, which was published by Music Eddies. It's a teacher's manual I wrote a few years ago where I outlined some of the concepts that brought me to community music. From working with found sound and building new musical instruments, through to noise parades, which is on the slide there, and other alternative methods in music education. All of this prep work eventually led me to the role I'm in now with Community Music Schools of Toronto. Cut to me meeting Drs. Jason Nolan and Kurt Thumlert at the Responsive Ecologies Laboratory at Toronto Metropolitan University during the pandemic, and where many of the philosophies outlined in How to Play Your World are also reflected in their article, Sound Beginnings, which was published in the National Association for Music Education in 2020. We immediately kicked it off and began collaborating, bringing students from Community Music Schools of Toronto to Toronto Metropolitan University and vice versa. The ideas presented in this article resonated big time with us at CMST. For example, what we have in common between How to Play Your World and Sound Beginnings is the concept of working with raw materials of sound, then exploring possibilities of music ground up rather than top down. That our approaches are inclusive, which is very much in tune with community music practice. Everybody on each team is supportive of suspending Eurocentric frameworks and values associated with formal music education. Beginning to work and dream alongside Jason Nolan and Kurt Thumlert at the Relab eventually got us playing for some time with modular synthesizers, as they were just everywhere at the Relab. And the idea of modular synths when using in an open-ended educational setting could remove barriers and provide alternative pathways to making sound and music was another tenet of community music shared by all. The non-Western model, afforded by many aspects of modular synths, is also appealing. I'm just going to breathe.
Code white, schizophrenia south, inpatient unit level 3. Code white, schizophrenia south, inpatient unit level 3. Code blanc, unité, schizophrénie sud, niveau 3.
I want that time back. I like the fact that it has the potential to attract different types of learners and that it fosters a culture of sound-based creation. All of these ideas are reflected in both How to Play Your World and Sound Beginnings. Hence the genesis of a SynthClub at our Regent Park location. Just a couple of years ago, in the summer of 2023, Kurt, Jason, and their research colleague Heidi Chan were awarded a grant to help develop curriculum for CMST faculty to begin introducing modular synths into our learning spaces. It was an immediate hit, and faculty and students latched onto it. Those of you who attended the first MHRI conference 2 years ago will recall my overview of the research relationship between our school and York University's Helen Carswell Chair in Community-Based Research with Dr. Amy Hillis. This project to curate instruments and develop curriculum for a modular synth program was born of that initiative. This relationship, as funded by the Carswell Research Chair, brought together researchers Kurt Thumlert, Jason Nolan, and Heidi Chan to CMST in a very meaningful way. Their collective expertise in modular synthesis was paired nicely with CMST faculty and staff to bring together a pilot program that eventually led us to piloting our SynthClub in Regent Park. As a community music school whose goal is to decolonize the music room with methods that allow student voice to flourish, the idea of a synth club was appealing. I hope that forward. I think it did. Seeing some of our students gravitate towards the weird sounds they were producing was an indicator that if we built something truly modular and adaptable at the school, using these synths, we anticipated that students would enjoy it, and we were right. I'd like to now welcome my colleague at CMST in a moment, Olfield WIlliams, to speak to his experience in running the Synth Club for the last 2 academic years in Regent Park. And we're soon to be launching a new Synth Club this coming fall at our Jane Finch site. But more on that later. In these photos, we see our summer pilot, where we developed the curriculum with some of our seasoned faculty members. And there's also some patches that were developed for the synths that were donated to our school as a part of this grant. As an example, what you see here on this slide is a patch of the R2D2 sound, which our students obviously love. And here's a glimpse into a typical night at Synth Club in Regent Park, and then I'll call Oldfield over to speak to that once this clip ends. Okay.
Move to the right screen there.
The right screen?
Yeah. Keep moving to the right and over here.
No. Oh, this. Oh, sorry, guys.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's funny, I saw myself headbobbing to myself. Hello. So a typical night in SynthClub. I think it's important to put emphasis on night. We have students who are coming in the evening. So already you have a large number of them who may be detached or ready to go home. So it's our job to ground them and get them prepared for the next day. And I think SynthClub is great because of the frequencies that we're allowed to play with. In contrast to how, I could say harsh it could be, depending on how you are twisting it off or how you're pulling it off. So it's one of those things where, at first, I would say it's a blessing and a curse because you have students who are just ready to grab onto something and turn it with the intent to hear something and not really put in the time and nuance to just hear just incrementally just what you can ultimately. So I think SynthClub has been really cool in that regard. As far as a typical night though, you have kids who, are looking to, I think, find a bridge between sonically what they know they heard, and I make reference to Jones especially in terms of this pull on the womb, just frequencies you can hear from within. I think it's similar in terms of what you can create within the SynthClub. So it's been a very interesting road. I look forward to how things are moving along. I think what will be great too, again, is just bridging gaps between something that someone at first glance may see very confusing to something that is there to aid you to get from A to B. And I think with the new synth that we have on board, it's going to be a great addition and a great way just to help any students on how they retain information to get from A to B. Again, I thank Regent Park and the teamwork done with everybody in York, Team U, Relab, just great things to look forward to in the future. I'll share with you a bit. So I think that's sound I made is a good sound. That woof is when you hear that frequency. Just one more. So this is the BAMMsynth, and you know, it's a new synth, as Richard had mentioned. It's a new instrument that we're bringing this fall in Jane Finch, and as you can see, again, it's a bridging gap from A to B. There's lots of approaches you can go as far as making music, producing music, and I think it's a great opportunity for students to find every I think, as you can see, just compared to other Euro racks that you may have seen along the way, just how convenient this is. It's a lovely tool. It's accessible. It's something that we aim to bring to most of the students in our community.
Thank you, Olfield. I don't want to cut that short, it's just getting good, right? It's just getting good. Thanks, Olfield. It's been such a pleasure building all of this up with you and your patience and understanding when it comes to our students and community, and how they engage with this material has been crucial to its success. Your belief in this vision and ability to expand it has also been vital to our success. We've already used prototypes of this new BAMMsynth with our students, and it's been glorious. So, what does BAM stand for? Well, it's up there. Building Access in Music Making, which is part of a 7-year SHIRT grant that Dr. Adam Patrick Bell is spearheading at Western University, which pulls together an entire network of scholars, industry folks, and community members, all with one goal: to build up accessibility to musical instruments and music education. I just want to, seeing this thing evolve from a summer pilot program where we were building a SynthClub over now cut to this year with a brand new kind of bespoke instrument, this BAMMsynth, that's going to be, part of our new SynthClub at Jane Finch is really inspiring. To have a musical instrument kind of built for a school is pretty amazing, and we're honored to be a part of this this evolution. Here's a glimpse into the BAM universe, of which CMST, York University, and the TMU Relab are definitely active planets, I would say, and we have a lot going on together as a team. So it's very exciting seeing this research kind of develop. The BAMMsynth is just one connection point between Community Music Schools of Toronto and the Building Access in Music Making Network. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Kurt Thumlert to the stage to talk a little more about the BAMMsynth, which was mainly his brainchild, alongside some of the incredible thinkers at the Relab, including Jason Nolan and Eric Johnson. Over to you, Kurt.
Tell me how to turn the slide. Just that Eric. Okay, great. Hi, thanks Richard. Thanks Olfield. Hello everyone. So when talking about synths and learning, I like to refer back to an early electronic music composer and teacher from the 1960s. His name is Alan Strange. He starts a book about learning synths by just reminding us of the basic principles of music making. He just says a musician or composer is simply concerned with different manners of vibration, that all musical processes come down to temporal pressure, variations on the body, that is, variations in air pressure at various rates over time. And further, we can make music from anything we want to make music from, any object, any resource in our environment. And I think that fits actually an aesthetic theory, so to speak, really nicely with Richard's points and how to play your world. It's an inclusive starting point that allows learners to construct sound and musical combination of sounds from the ground up and in a manner that does not privilege any one cultural or aesthetic perspective. Yet one of the challenges of working with any type of synthesizer, modular synth, is simply getting the thing to make noise. As you can see, there are lots of pad points and cable relationships in the earlier modular synth version we had, which is both the beauty of synthesis and also the intimidation factor. So here we have the older system. Okay. And on the right, the new system. I'm not too worried. So, okay. At any rate, there's a lot of patch points and cables and relationships available in a typical modular synthesizer, which again is the beauty of what synthesis affords, but it's also a challenge or sometimes the intimidation factor, just to get the thing to make noise. So our goal in designing the BAMMsynth was to get everything on the left into one internal module that afforded immediate and continuous feedback. Okay, so the BAMMsynth was designed to make it hard for players to not make sound, which is kind of the opposite. And that at least was the design goal. So we don't have a volume knob. The synth is always at 11. But you do have a filter utility that allows you to dial down. The goal of designing the system was to have it provide as much as possible continuous sound and feedback to reward interaction and experimentation. Second, we created an internal routing, so a lot of those patch cables were not required, while still retaining a lot of advanced opportunities for exploring musical possibilities. So I'll skip all the technical stuff and just say the BAMMsynth here has two voices or oscillators with knobs that allow you to dial through different waveforms, wave shapes, mixed waves, the balance of sides. We have a filter, we have a rise and fall, or attack and decay relationship. We also tried to follow what's important, I think, for community music schools of Toronto is to have a low barrier, high ceiling principle. That is, a low threshold for being able to engage and make noise, and an endless, hopefully endless ceiling for exploring more complex aspects of sound synthesis, like frequency modulation and other different ways of working, combining waves. So I'm not going to go into any of that at all. I want to bring Richard back to conclude, but I'm happy to talk to folks, and we have some things for people to play with a little later.
It is quite exciting as a community music school to kind of find folks like Kurt and Jason and imagine and dream with them, and that's where I think conferences like this also really help us to kind of come together and for ideas to collide. You kind of see what could be born of these kind of discussions. So I want to talk a little bit, thanks Kurt, I want to talk a little bit about future implications. So I want to end our presentation to quickly outline what we've been envisioning for future ideas here, and hopefully make more research related to this project come to life. Co-developing curriculum. We definitely want to, over the summer we're going to be bringing in our faculty and staff to jam with the BAMMsynth. You're going to get an opportunity to do that in about 10-15 minutes. But and to build some and design some curriculum around that. What can we do in the classroom as we design a new SynthClub for Jane Finch? Kurt's got this idea to do Bandcamp albums with our students, which I love. Of course, we're going to do that using musical classes, including media production, etc. Of course, noise parades are in our future with synths. Drone Day is on May 24th. If any of you celebrate, you can we'll definitely be observing it. Connecting with modular communities like Frequency Freaks in Toronto. BAMMsynth, this is another really exciting thing. So I spoke yesterday about our relationship with the Kingsway Music Library and doing fundraising related to royalties. Kurt and Jason over at the Relab are looking to start a Kickstarter where you would buy one synth, and the synth community is pretty active in buying this kind of gear, and then you would donate another one for a student at our school. So innovative models like that kind of keep us sustainable as well, which is exciting. So we would provide guidance in relation to expanding sites and uses and continuing to challenge boundaries towards a more inclusive learning setting. And of course, always keep our door open to the music and health side of how this works. On numerous occasions throughout the first year of piloting this, there was one student in particular, his father came to me and said, my son is not just engaging in school. And this is where it's at when we talk about STEM or STEAM or whatnot. This is really engaging with my son. So getting those kind of validations is important to us. So in the music and health setting, I think there could be more research that could be done in this area. How the BAMMsynth could lead to better community health as an example. So thanks everyone. I really want to thank Kurt and Olfield. It's an honor to be here with you both and to share what we're up to in Regent Park and Jane Finch in the city of Toronto. So just before I take any questions, or we take any questions, in the coffee break, we're actually going to be lucky enough to play with some of these synth prototypes in the lobby upstairs. So you'll get an early glimpse at some of the prototypes we're working on for our Jane Finch SynthClub. So that's exciting. And we urge you, it's like a petting zoo, so come and get your hands dirty with our synths, okay? I promise the Play-Doh has not been touched before. For those of you who were here yesterday. Any questions for Kurt, Olfield, or myself?
Well, I don't know if you want to throw it over everybody's heads. Maybe throw it to this first person.
I love insurance.
Remember, so, well, that's loud. Are they for sale?
They will be, right, Kurt?
Actually, one thing that's really nice in development is these sorry.
So in developing these ourselves, these are actually really nice instruments. We're using really great components, and normally something like this would cost about $1,000, but hopefully we're going to get down to around 150 or less, especially for schools. And if through the Kickstarter, the idea is, of course there's no profit involved. We're just cycling the money back into community music schools, trying to build bridge. So there's no, for people who need it for research purposes or educational school purposes, we'll give them to you at cost, which would be, hopefully, when we go into production, 100 to 150 bucks.
Okay.
And then we're going to be giving as many away free as possible to, yeah.
So one, I'm interested, so make sure that I can contact. But two, would you provide training on it? I've never used a synth before. And like training on how I would show it to my students.
Yeah, we're going to be creating a lot of resources for CMST, and we did this in the past. We had patch cards and things like this. But yeah, there'll be lots of explanations on how the thing works, what you're doing with sound. But mostly we wanted to be just image, a little text, some video documentation. We didn't want to make anything text heavy or manual heavy. We really wanted people to explore from the inside out with it. And then when they need to have an on-demand resource, like a video, and we're going to have lots of different people in the community create their own patches with it, so they can model lots of different ways of using the synth for students, for users. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Can I throw it?
Do it.
Actually, no one has liability insurance, so I'm just gonna bring it.
Thanks so much for your presentation, Richard and Olfield and Kurt. Just two quick things. We've had a couple of partnerships at the Sarah McLaughlin School over the years that have had to do with modular synths, and one of the things that I've found is that they tend to be a little adult driven. There are adult artists who really want to do something cool, and sometimes it's kind of tricky to get engagement from youth. So first, I just want to say I really appreciate all the work you put into the design of the BAMMsynth and all those principles of adaptability, easy access, being able to kind of get in and get your hands dirty. And so first of all, yes, thank you for that. Can we get some? And second thing, did you do any consultation? Did you include youth or individuals with disabilities or like any other sort of end users in the process of this design?
You want to grab the mic?
Mostly with this design actually went through some weird iterations on the way to this that kind of didn't really provide that, but we followed the BAM, Building Access and Music model, which is disability-led design of instruments. So one of the things that we're doing right now is enabling or coming up with different technologies and resources for creating, for example, different controller interfaces for this, or ways we could reformat the systems with different types of knobs or controls. Jason Nolan, he has a version that allows people to work everything with sliders. So all we're talking about is principles of electricity and voltage control. These are completely analog. So the question is, from here, what kinds of interfaces or adaptive tools created, co-developed or shaped by users' interests and needs themselves, and how can we support that? So, and one of the nice things about synthesis going back to the 1960s is that one of the main ideas was to get away from, at least in the West Coast tradition, get away from keyboard instrument towards all kinds of alternative interfaces. So Luca, one of the early designers, was like borrowing gasoline fuel sensors from NASA rocket ships.
I'm gonna cut you off there.
Okay.
Cut you off there.
So there's all kinds of possibilities for
Kurt and I have worked together for a long while, and I don't know when he's going on. I would just say also that working with youth has been part of the pilot. The summer camp that we first developed, I don't know if that was clear, but we developed a summer camp that was all with our kids. And it was fascinating seeing that kid, you guys know the one I'm talking about specifically, just latch onto it kind of by like, I don't know, Olfield, you can talk to this better than me, but like by the third or fourth week, he was leading the way in a lot of ways, right? Like kind of a model, so.
Very much so. And this being like a young teen, so someone who's, having so many other things to do, but he wants to, use my theater voice. What I really liked about him is that over the span of the year, it just went from someone who felt like he was doing something that was mandatory to something he really wanted to do. And that also assisted with ultimately the curriculum that will be available this fall in terms of just seeing students who are there in the long run versus those who are short term. So it was really good to see him. That's all.
Question up top. Nicola.
Yeah, I love this. It's a lot of fun. I'm very curious to know sort of what the end musical output is, or is it just about learning to use a synthesizer and creating a little sort of
I never thought we'd be here, like to have a musical instrument kind of basically created for our school and our students, and now they're going to be able to take this thing. It's very portable. Take this thing home with them on a weekly basis. That's going to be mind-blowing. Where to go from here, though, is part of this 7-year SURE grant. I think we really blow it open and share the knowledge, share it with other schools or models. I mean, there's a lot of places I think we can go with this. Yeah.
This is just one tiny aspect of it.
Yeah, exactly. Just a sliver of what we're doing overall with that whole network. So yeah.
I'm sort of curious on a musical level, sort of like, will they perform with them?
Oh yeah, they're performing on June the 21st at Luminato already. We have the synth involved in that. Yeah.
Is that a pre-drone day?
That's after drone, post-drone day.
Post-drone day.
but it's the solstice. And another implication would be that we attach it to plants. That was going through my mind as you were speaking.
No, I understand. We were talking with Kevin as you were talking, and we're hoping, I don't know with whom I should connect, but in our improvisational workshops, I think we could use, because we can play plants also, that we can use it. So anyways, let's talk.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
let's opera with synths and plants, and let's do that.
That's my kind of opera. Yeah. Space opera. Yeah, good. Great.
Does anyone else have? Okay, we got time for one more.
One more question, and then we're going to go have coffee and synths.
Hi, I just wondered if you had any reflection on gender aspects of this and who is coming in the night to play.
Great question.
And
I'm going to leave that one for Olfield, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Olfield, if you can come up. Thanks.
So who's coming in the night? Parents to make sure the kids are safe. We have, because there's students all across the building, it's nice when we set up in the hallway because just the sound alone resonates and it just encourages people to come by and hang out. So I would say in terms of demographic, wow. Youngest as young as maybe 7, oldest, I want to say mid-60s I've seen. And what's cool about that is that sometimes they come as a duo. So you have someone really young with someone who's a bit older, and the level in which they connect in order to make something happen is very cool. And as far as gender, I would say it's all over the board as well. Yeah, we're all inclusive, so just come.
Thanks for that lovely question and for your excitement and enthusiasm around this project, everybody. I want to thank Kurt and Olfield again. Thanks.
I guess we have to break now. Don't forget if you received the link already with the survey about the conference to fill in the
Carlos, here's your solo. Nice. Beautiful. Okay. Forward come to you. And you're in.
People who want to do
Beautiful. All right. Okay, Simon, ready? Yeah. And you're in. Come on, man, both hands. Get both hands in there. Come on now. This guy's chilling. Nice. And then I'm going to give you a 4 count, then you'll all be in. 5, 6, 7, and... Such a beautiful orchestra.